Next, we're going to talk about how to create perfect square trinomials when we don't have one to start with. So again, let's remember the pattern that we observed in our perfect square trinomials. The factor here, -3, is half of my b value. And when I take -3 and square it, I get my c value. So I'm going to use that relationship that this is b divided by 2, and that squaring it gives me this number to create a perfect square trinomial where I don't have one. Let's look at making a perfect square trinomial. So I'm going to start with just the ax squared and the bx terms. And notice actually that a is equal to 1, so I really just have x squared plus bx. And in order to create a c value, to make this a trinomial, I want to use that relationship that I observed. So to get the c value, it was the b value divided by 2 and then squared. So c is equal to b over 2 squared. Let's use that to figure out what c needs to be for these examples here. So if I have x squared plus 8x plus c, my c value is equal to b over 2. So b over 2 is 8 over 2 and then squared. So that's going to give me 4 squared or 16. So I can write that x squared plus 8x plus that 16 that I just calculated is the value that I want to have for c, so that I've created a perfect square trinomial. My perfect square trinomial can then be factored into x in the front and then a plus 4 as my factor, because 4 times 4 is 16, 4 plus 4 is 8. I can rewrite this as x plus 4 squared. Let's look at another one. So I have x squared minus 2x plus c, and I want to figure out what c needs to be to make this a perfect square trinomial. C has to be equal to b over 2, so -2 divided by 2, and then square it. So I'm going to have, let's see, -1 squared, and -1 squared is simply a 1. So I can plug that in for c and make a perfect square trinomial. X squared minus 2x plus the 1 that I just calculated. From there, I can factor. Let's see if we can factor this without writing it out as 2 factors this time. Remember the pattern that I want to take half of the b value as my factor. So I can just say that it is x minus 1. All right, why don't you try number 5 and then come back here to double check. Okay, let's see how you did. You should have calculated c to be b over 2 squared, or 40 over 2 squared, which is 20 squared, or 400. So plug in 400 for c, and then from there you can write your binomial squared, x plus 20, because 20 is half of 40.